All right, so I think we should just go ahead and get started here. Uh, Welcome everyone. Thank you for participating today. If you are here, it's because you signed up to hear about our career and other opportunities for professional development related to our students and to hear from our students directly. Okay, so um, if you have any questions again, chat box is available. If you have any questions later on, we're always available at engineering@chapman.edu. So please do not hesitate to email us with any of your questions. We're really good about getting back to everyone on a timely basis. So my name is Samuel Lee. I'm the manager of career services here for our Fowler School of Engineering. I also have an image here of our manager of student success, Adina Hamlin, who is kind of like your go-to if you have any questions regarding that. If you email us, she will likely be the one to reply or help get you the answer that you're seeking. But if you have any questions, my email is here as well. Feel free to contact me at any time, and we'll be happy to help. So a brief overview is I just want to go over some of the things that we offer um, really quickly before we jump into our students here and your questions. So at Chapman University, and specifically in our Fowler School of Engineering, we offer a plethora of services, whether it's online, in person for our students here. You'll hear from our students as well about their experiences. And some of these things that you'll find across other campuses as well, because some of these are large platforms that many universities use. But some of the things that we have available, Handshake is what we use to help our students throughout the career development process. Every student at Chapman University has a Handshake account, and that's where they'll be able to access getting any appointments with myself or any other career services that are available. We do have a feature called Chapman Career AI. It's funneled through a service called VMOC, where we use technology and AI resources to help students navigate assessing their resumes, getting feedback. We also have a new feature with mock interview. So I tested it out myself. You turn on your camera, it analyzes everything, and it gives you real-time feedback about, you know, the way you smile enough or not enough. In my case, I don't think I smile enough. That's what it always tells me. I tend to have a more stoic face, and it definitely does not shy away from letting me know that. And then we have the Panther Network, which is a resource for all of our students who want to reach out to any of our alumni or graduates or industry mentors who have volunteered to hear from us, to contribute to our students and answer any questions about maybe getting into a specific industry. We have assessments available as well. And then Parker Dewey is another resource that we have for our students where they want to get some, let's say, like part-time work or any projects that they would like to work on. As far as like advising and support goes, we do anything that you can think of that falls under the career development umbrella. So if you have any questions about, you know, how do I start my, career exploration and journey there, we can have those conversations. I meet with our students daily. We have peer advisors as well. One thing that I'm really proud of is, all of our peer advisors have gone through internships themselves. So, I have my student assistant who is currently completed their internship over at Raven Software. So for those of you who like video games, basically they create Call of Duty and work on that. We have another student who just finished up their internship and was offered a full-time role at Microsoft. And then another student who completed internship and got a full-time role offered um, just this month at Electronic Arts, right? And so um, really great opportunities for our students. And then as far as other opportunities go, we have research experiences that we have for our students. And so if you're a student coming in, oftentimes you're a freshman or sophomore, you're not sure what you want to do. A great way to get some diverse experience under your resume is to start doing some research. And so we have faculty researchers all available. They work with our students. It's a great way to also get like part-time, like a few hours as a student to get employment while doing your work. And so that's a really great option. We also have something called like a makeathon where our students who participate in building projects in our DCI labs and our makerspace, they'll go ahead and present the projects that they've done, go into a competition and win a little bit of a prize there as well. We have our 298 courses, which are one unit topic courses. So, for example, I teach one where it's based on building career fundamentals and pursuing a career in engineering. Other ones can be things like, um, maybe you want to get into like an entrepreneurship area or how to take your ideas from infancy to fruition and what that looks like. So, multitude of topics there. And then plenty of scholarship opportunities also attached to um, our research opportunities as well. So students who are doing research often are they can become fellows, they can apply for scholarships, they can apply for grants and get money and present nationally, and that looks really, really great on resumes as well. And then most recently, our students actually all got together. Some of them are in this room with us and will be sharing, but we launched our first hackathon last year, and I think we're doing another one this year. So basically, where all of our students collaborate over a weekend and participate in a hackathon to kind of flex their skills and then win some prizes over there and really just get a lot of experiential learning and participation through that. Some other things that we're actively doing and have opportunities for our students here at Fowler School of Engineering. Okay, so we do a lot of industry site visits and tours. We actually have one coming up in a couple weeks over at Pelican, which they design hard cases and products and manufacturing. So if you've had anything valuable that you want to secure, you might have seen their products somewhere or purchased them yourselves. I have several of their products as well, but we've done industry site visit tours at Amazon this year. Last year we done Riot Games. We're probably doing that again this spring. Massimo with some medical device company, Johnson and Johnson next week actually, and Edwards Life Sciences. So plenty of places that we're taking our students to give that in-person experience. And they, usually get transportation provided. We take them there. They get to learn about what that company and industry and organization does and hear about how to start getting traction towards an internship or a full-time opportunity with those organizations. We also do a lot of campus recruiting events. We had ATech Consulting, a local company here in Orange County, come and talk to our students. I know they offered some positions for internships to a couple of them as well. We have a Amazon and Microsoft like career development workshop that is coming around. In a couple weeks, we have Panasonic Avionics coming in with hiring managers and recruiters doing real-time interviews and real-time resume reviews to give them feedback on what industry professionals are looking for, right? As they start progressing and working on their opportunities and building their careers. And then, we have consistent professional development opportunities. One thing that our students do really, really well in is we have a healthy club and student organization culture here. And so some of our students, even in here, they participated in going to conferences like Society of Women Engineers conferences. These are large, nationally recognized professional organizations that host conferences, and students have many opportunities to go there, meet with recruiters, and get that support. So if any of these things are of interest to you, if any questions, we're more than happy to answer those. But I want to go ahead and start introducing you to our students. Before we do, here's a quick snapshot of like some of the companies that our students are at and have either done internships, research, or have full-time opportunities. And so, as you can see, one of the perks of being in Orange County as well is I don't know if many of you know, but like Orange County is kind of like the medical technology um, epicenter in Southern California. You'll see a lot of our companies around there, but we also have popular companies like Blizzard. The students really love getting into game design here that are available for our students. Okay, now I do want to do some quick introductions here. So I'm going to go around here. Let's go in order. I'm going to ask our student panel to unmute themselves. We'll start with Hemi, and let's go Hemi, Kaylin, Marissa, and then Matthew, and so on and so forth. So Hemi, if you can go ahead and start, introduce yourself, maybe what year you're in, and a bit about like what your experience has been like.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi everyone. I'm Hemi. I'm a junior computer science major and game development minor. So this past summer, I was a software engineering intern at Rockwell Automation, and then I'm an incoming software engineering intern for Bank of America for summer 2026. Although I am also still recruiting with other companies. So yeah, but I'm happy to share a little bit about that. I'm also pretty involved in our student organization life on campus. I'm president of Girls Who Code, and then I'm also the conference coordinator for Society of Women Engineers. And then I'm also a part of other clubs as well, such as Computer Science Club, which helped organize the hackathon. So if there's any questions about that, I'm also happy to answer.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Hi, guys. My name is Kaylin Richardson. I'm currently a senior studying software engineering, and my minor is in cybersecurity. I'm also doing my master's here in our 4+1 program, and that is in electrical engineering and computer science. My journey to my internship with Ingram Micro started with the Chapman Career Center providing a pre-internship through CLAOC. And so I went from the pre-internship, applied for my internship last summer, secured it, and was the security awareness intern on their InfoSec team. And I'm now currently working there part-time until the end of the year and working on an extension to continue into the next year. Um, Same as Hemi, in a lot of variety of different clubs, president of Society of Women Engineers, president of Chapman Robotics, and involved in Girls Who Code, IEEE, and a variety of other clubs. And I also helped coordinate the Panther Hacks, which is the hackathon that we host in the spring semester. And we're currently, like Sam said, working towards hosting that here at Chapman next semester. Some other things, I've gone to a plethora of conferences. I'm actually going to one next week. And yeah, I can answer any questions on careers or conferences or clubs. And that's about it for me.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I graduated from my undergrad in computer science, major in computer science and minor in game development this past May, and I'm continuing on with the integrated master's program in electrical engineering and computer science. I'm currently an intern at Panasonic Avionics, and I interned there over the summer, and I'm now working part-time as an intern. I applied to it on my own, but I then went to Samuel Lee for help with my interview process and all that whole process, and it's been super, super helpful. Um, I also, in my time during my undergrad, I was very involved with Girls Who Code. I was the treasurer for my sophomore and junior year, and then junior to part of senior year, I was the president. Um, and then also kind of separate from Fowler, I co-hosted a radio show with Chapman Radio. So yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Matthew. I also go by Ziggy. I'm a data science major, econ minor. I'm a senior, and I'm also in the integrated MEEKS program right now. I just got back from Madrid last semester doing a study abroad there, so I'd be happy to answer any questions about that. And then, just like all these guys have said, I'm pretty involved around campus. I am in Greek life. I served on the executive board for my fraternity. And then also, I'm going to DataCon LA on Saturday. If you have any questions about conferences and stuff like that, Sam is a great resource to connect you to all the things opportunities wise to help you get a job.
Hey guys, I'm Abby. I'm having a couple issues with my camera, which I'm figuring it out. But I'm a computer science and math double major. I'm a senior as well. This past summer, I interned at this company called eClinical Solutions. They're this medical tech company. I also was studying abroad at the University of Auckland in New Zealand last spring. And yeah, like everyone else, I'm also involved around campus. I'm treasurer for Panther Devs, which is our game dev club, and for Data Analytics Association, which is our data analytics club, and members in like various other ones. I'm also a part of the Fowler circuit, which is kind of student leadership. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions about any of those things.
Hey guys, my name is Josh. I'm a junior in software engineering. and I'm a research assistant, as you can see right there. And as Sam mentioned, it's a really good alternative to getting experience, especially in your freshman and sophomore year. And it opens up a lot of doors for you to share your work. And for example, I'm going to New Orleans to present my research in December, and I've also been to Virginia as well to meet up with other colleges and present my research. So it's a great way to get experience, especially if you're unable to get an internship in your first couple of years. And ask me any questions that you have about that as well.
Nice. So, thanks everyone. As you can see, we have a lot of varying experiences here. If anything that our students shared today kind of resonated with you, of course they can all dive much deeper. But I've asked them to give a quick blurb. But if you have any questions, um, they can easily chime in and give you their perspective and experience. And one of the reasons we do this session is because really, like, the student experience is really what matters, right? I always talk to our students here, and Kaylin, Hemi, like, you all know, like, my thing is like, okay, we're doing something, like, does it help the students? It has to help the students first. So they have that personal perspective, and I think it's really great just to hear them from their mouths directly. Um, I just want to reiterate here, like, if you do have any questions, I'm going to leave this here. You can always email myself, Adina Hamlin, again, for those of you who joined late, she's our manager of student success. She handles a lot of questions regarding anything under the umbrella. You can always reach out to her. But if you don't know who to start with, engineering@chapman.edu. We're more than happy to answer any of your questions. But we'd be happy to take any questions from this group today if you're joining us. If you're shy, you can just type your questions in the chat. If you're not shy, you can turn your camera on or not, or just turn on your mic and just ask away. But we'll do our best to answer any questions here, and our students will jump in. But we do have one question in the chat box already here. Are there any opportunities to do internships while studying abroad?
I can take this one.
Great.
So yes, there's a bunch of opportunities that the global student services center can help you with. So there's opportunities to study semesters abroad and also interterm, which is the January term. And those are paid. There's also summer opportunities, but you can coordinate whether you want to do a semester or internships. And they also, I believe, do research opportunities as well. And you can honestly do both at the same time. I know it is a little trickier with your schedule, but it's definitely possible. And the Global Resource Center on Glassell, I don't know the address, but they can help you with any of that.
I can also jump in real quick
Oh
and
yeah, go
add
ahead,
that
Abby.
depending on kind of what university you go to, people there are also very open to offering you research positions. I know at the University of Auckland, which is like that's where the program language R was invented. So they do a lot of data analytics. There are a lot of opportunities there depending on which professors you talk to. And I know Chapman helps you, like the Chapman's Global Ambassador Program helps you kind of interact with these people so that you can make the right connections and speak to the right people to get these opportunities.
Great, thank you. So we have a question from Robert here. Did any of students here in the have any STEM classes done before attending? STEM classes before.
I can go ahead. I absolutely did not. I wanted to be an architect all the way up until my senior year of high school. And I kind of just signed up for computer science because I was like, well, it seems a little interesting, and I had a passion for game development. So I didn't really start any of my STEM classes until I got to college. And it honestly hasn't been very hard for me. I think the way that our courses are structured out and like your degree requirements, it's not gonna like set you back anymore. And there's a very good like pipeline of, okay, you took this class, now you can take this. And especially with like prerequisites, our programs really do make sure that they're setting you up for the next classes. So I don't think that's necessarily something you should be worried about.
So kind of follow up with that, there are opportunities for transfer credits, and you can do that either prior to attending Chapman or while you are attending Chapman. There is a limit of 24 credits. for the transfer credits, but you can also do those either through IB, AP, or through community college classes as well.
Great. Yeah, one of the things that, I come across when I talk to our students too is a lot of them didn't think that they're going to be engineering majors, right? And I think that's one thing that's really unique about our Fowler School of Engineering. Like I've worked on different campuses. If trust me, if I knew that I could be an engineering major, I probably would have done that in college. But I I actually shared this story. I was in a classroom once and I heard an engineering um professor at a different school say, look to your left, look to your right. And then they go, okay, one of you won't make it through the program. And I was like, that is terrible to hear, right? And that's oftentimes like a lot of times, there are like cutthroat programs like that. But, one thing I'm really proud of that, I've heard and I've seen being consistent is that if you want to do engineering, like everybody here will find a way to make sure that you find a way to be successful and how to navigate that program. Colin asked here, for the student speakers who took game design as a minor or are currently taking it, what classes did you or are you currently taking, and how's your experiences with those? I know we have a few of those in here, so I'll let you all take it.
I can go ahead and start. So I'm currently doing the game development minor right now since I'm in my undergraduate. Again, it's very structured, like similar to your major. There's going to be a set of courses where it's like you have to take these. So kind of like intro to C# and stuff and Unity. And then you have a couple electives that you can choose from. So I know some people were more interested in like the written portion, so like dialogue and stuff in games, so you can kind of go down that path. Maybe you want to make like a different style of game, something that's more complex. Maybe you can take Unreal, but something that I've noticed talking to like different recruiters, I actually spoke to a recruiter from Disney a couple weeks ago, and they really value the game development projects that I have and the experience that I have, just because it forces you to, as a developer, like think in a very different way. And it's definitely something that I would encourage, even if you're not necessarily interested in games. I think it's been very applicable, and I've been able to transfer my knowledge from my minor to my core classes. And also the curriculum, it aligns with like industry expectations and standards. Kind of going back to my talk with the recruiter from Disney, like they use Unreal. I know when I interned at Rockwell Automation, I was kind of exploring different departments there, and their VR department uses Unity, and those are all softwares that you get hands-on exposure to through our minor program.
I can also kind of speak to this. I graduated last year, but I also was a game development minor, and Hemi was kind of said it all. But I found that in my internship when I was interviewing, my experience from my game development minor helped me the most, having experience with C#, as I'm currently working with C# and .NET in my internship. My experience with game development, as well as in your senior year, you take a 2 semester, like one is game development and the next is collaborative game development, where you work with a team. And I think that the experience from those courses has helped me so much, even though I'm not currently in a game development internship. So yeah, I agree with Hemi. Even if you're not going into game development, it's so helpful.
I want to add just like a couple more notes. I think Marissa was talking about her capstone. They've actually extended it now. So you kind of start that your junior year. So there's 3 courses. One's kind of like an intro to a lot of the high level concepts that you'd want to use during your capstone project. But I know like my game dev projects definitely make me stand out a lot more. When I'm like recruiting with other companies and stuff. And also our professors are like from industry. So you're kind of learning from the best people who have hands-on experience working in games, and they can also serve as like mentors for you if like they've worked on like games that you've probably played growing up. So it's a really cool experience.
One more thing to add on this too, if it says anything, the testimonials from Hemi and Marissa are going to be practically the same for any kind of student who's in game development. So it does speak to how powerful that minor is.
Very, very popular minor amongst students and really cool projects coming out of that as well. So here, Leslie asked, are there any engineering internships or research opportunities for an incoming freshman? I'll start off with that. So the answer is yes, there are opportunities. But what you'll find traditionally based on industry is that there might not be as many available as there might be for like students who are in their junior year, right? And that has nothing to do with the students, quite frankly. It has more to do with like industry and hiring timelines. And so my background is, from the recruiting side, actually, before I got into higher education as well. And what typically happens is if you're a freshman, you're just starting off, right? You're still getting your foundations under your belt. And so traditionally, like companies will want to hire junior level students to do internships so that they're trained up and they only have a little bit of school left before they could potentially and ideally hire them as full-time employees. Now, there are more and more freshman and sophomore level internship programs being offered. For example, Kaylin participated in a pre-internship program, which is becoming a more and more popular thing that's coming because companies are realizing that they want to start identifying talent earlier and as soon as possible so that they could invest and develop and create that culture and retention, right? And so there are plenty of opportunities. Another thing that like Josh mentioned, right? Like it's really, really great for students then who are asking, well, if it's, I'm still going to pursue an opportunity to find these freshman level internships, but in the case that I don't, what should I be doing, right? And and research is one of the best ways to start getting a grasp on what it's like to work with a supervisor, a professional, and then adding something that's going to differentiate yourself on your resume compared to others, right? And so that's something that I would recommend. Is there anyone who wants to speak on anything that they've done regarding like starting an internship or research early?
I
I can,
can. Oh,
uh,
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I can speak on the research thing really quickly. In freshman year, I was working with Dr. Fisher, who's over in our Schmid, like the Schmid college, which is kind of life sciences and technology, whereas we're more engineering focused. One of the advantages of Chapman, I would say, is that like a lot of the professors who work at Schmid are looking for people who have a more technical background. So even if you're a freshman with more rudimentary technical skills, they still like have work for you to do, and they're very happy to teach you what they do and how you can help them. So it's definitely about reaching out and looking to see if they have an opportunity, and more times than not, the answer is yes.
Adding on to this, I do know that it is quite easy if you were to talk to your professors in office hours or talk to your professors after class. They are very open to explain kind of what they are doing for research. And then if you were to then carry on a conversation with them, they would have the opportunity to then either offer you a position or talk to you about how they have positions open, things like that. And that would be kind of something that you can do either freshman, senior, sophomore, anything in between. And then for internships, I can talk a bit about my pre-internship. That pre-internship was through, again, the program is called CLAOC. CLAOC stands for CEO Leadership Alliance of Orange County, and they connect you with companies that are, of course, in Orange County. And then they will pass you off to their partnering companies and then offer networking opportunities or a fellowship or things like that. And that is definitely something that I recommend either in college, or they also have high school internships and opportunities that then as well too. So definitely take a look at that right now.
I
Yeah.
can also kind of speak to the internship portion. So my internship last summer was kind of it was between my sophomore and junior year, which is usually not a time that a lot of people get internships. Kind of like going back to what Sam said, it's not necessarily the student's fault. It's just like there's certain classes that you need to take to even be able to have like an impact and really contribute during an internship. And a lot of those classes typically you take during like your end of sophomore year or junior year. But I think one like really good way to get experience is through conferences. I got my previous internship through the SWE conference, particularly We24, which was in Chicago. And I think it's a really good way to, even if you don't necessarily get an opportunity from it, it's a very new and unique experience where you get to connect with recruiters, network with a lot of people. My Bank of America offer, I started the internship process during a conference as well. It was also the SWE conference that happened a couple weeks ago. And then I was able to get an offer from that. So I think that's definitely something that you should look into getting into when you're an underclassman.
There's a question here from Charlotte. It says, for electrical engineering programs, what are some common paths for graduation? So I can answer that real briefly. So it really just depends on what the student is interested in, but most of our students are getting into some sort of electrical engineering title and an entry-level role, or they start off as an electrical engineer, whether it's for like a public entity or a private entity. A lot of common areas that students will look into as well as like medical technology and devices as well. But actually, one thing that I want to plug that Kaylin and some of our other students mentioned is a lot of them go to our or a part of our 4+1 program, which is if you haven't heard about it, it's basically a fast track of getting your master's degree. So during your second half of your senior year, you start on your Master's of Electrical Engineering Computer Science degree, so you only have a year left, right? And so your tuition is like overlapping, and it's basically discounting that, and you're finishing with your master's in just 1 year. And a lot of our students who are part of that program, I know for example, we have a student who got hired over at SAP. We have some students over at Amazon as well. So it really just depends on what kind of opportunities, industries they want to go into. But yeah, they're typically finding opportunities all over the place. Yeah. Colin asked here, game design minor, is experience enough to show your expertise in the field in applying for a game design career, or are you locked into other more general fields? So it sounds like he's asking, are you getting enough experience in the minor to pursue and find jobs in the field, or are you locked into kind of like what your major is and like you're hoping to get maybe a game experience?
We have a lot of students who are in our game development minor, and then they have successfully been able to get jobs in industry, kind of how Sam mentioned earlier, some of the peer career advisors. I know one of them is at EA, another one is at Raven. So it's definitely enough to kind of show your interest and have a good portfolio of game development projects. I think another really unique thing about the minor is it is very much what you make of it. So if you really want to make a certain type of video game, or you have hours that you want to spend on it, you can definitely make a larger scaled project, obviously with the help of like faculty and peers and stuff. But I think it also doesn't necessarily like lock you into general fields. Like for example, I love video games and I like making them, but I know I don't want to go into the games industry. I like more like traditional software routes and exploring things like fintech and tech companies. But I'm still able to use my game development experience to talk about that. And oftentimes, like during interviews, it definitely piques interest for a lot of recruiters, and they're always curious. They're like, oh, can you kind of explain like what this project is? And because like everyone's familiar with games, it's very easy to kind of break down and be like, yeah, this is how I made it. Here's the game. So.
Right. Yeah. And another thing I will say is actually the folks that we're mentioning, like they're my actual student employees, so I can speak. I actually worked with them when they first got here. So for me, it's really rewarding to see our students who came in, they had no idea what they're doing. I joke around or they joke around with me or like, oh, like you tore my resume apart and told me like it was terrible. I did not do that, by the way, right? But there's like obviously room for improvement, right? But it's really great because they did all the right steps. They sought out the help, right? They put the effort in. They attended conferences. They participated in clubs and organizations, collaborated with their peers, and of course, we're on top of their academics. And they, to answer your question, is a minor enough? I believe it is because that's what they were able to find those opportunities at EA, at Blizzard, at Raven, Microsoft, etc. Right? And so the opportunities are out there. I will also say like, game design and game dev is a pretty challenging field to get into. And if that's your dream job, that's great, right? But if it's not immediate, like you can still get there, right? And so let's find different ways and opportunities to start carving a path towards that, right? It might not be your first job, but it doesn't mean it can't be your second, right? So you can think about it that way. Robert asked, what's the most in demand at the moment? Film, game, or software technology? I'm not sure if you're asking, Robert, in the context of like majors. If you're asking what's the most popular like major at Chapman, it's probably film because like that's what a lot of our school is known for. But if you're asking about industry for our engineering students, I don't know, what would you all say is the most like common industry that students are interested in?
There's two ways that I'm looking at this question. In demand for our students to apply to. I would say software and tech. In demand as from a company, it depends on what their focus is. But there are opportunities for you to then go into and do engineering in film or software in film or software in games. They can apply to a variety of different industries. Like I said, I'm a cybersecurity minor right now. So I'm applying my skills from my software classes into my cybersecurity position as an intern now. And there's people who I work with who are not only just cybersecurity, but marketing and things like that. And then my skills can then go out and apply to those positions as well. So there is a demand in a variety of different places.
I know one thing I can chime in about is like I'm sure the parents at least here have heard, right, the news, right? Like, oh, like employment is really, really challenging right now for anyone trying to get into tech, right? And that's just kind of the circumstance of, the job market, the economy. If you've worked long enough, you know that there's ebbs and flows and all of these pathways that we all experience. But one of the things that, I'm trying to push our students to is consider, okay, well, this challenge that you're facing is one that you're going to have to face eventually in life, and you're facing it now. Like, what can we do about this, right? And having them think about what are some other areas and industries that are that are still applicable with their skill set. So, if let's say big tech is not hiring as much as they used to for early grads, then what are some spaces that we can look into, right? And so, right now, like a lot of our students are wondering about, okay, well, where can I find us, some sense of security and medical technology, right? We took our students to a medical technology conference recently, just to get some exposure into like what that industry looks like and how technology applies, right? And they were able to collaborate with a bunch of other students from other schools to do like, I think it was Kaylin, you did that, right? It's like an AI coding like problem project. And so, that was really cool when you got to meet CEOs of, companies like Johnson and Johnson and etc., and see all these cool things happening. And so getting our students more open to the idea of like, okay, we're told big tech doesn't have to be everything, but what are some areas that I find interest in, right? And so the options are pretty plentiful right now. Let's see here. McKinney asked, are there any plans or possibilities to combine electrical engineering with AI at Chapman? I've seen it offered AA at other examples. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know the detailed answer for this in regards to EE plus AI, but I do know that there are artificial intelligence courses. We've always had machine learning courses offered. So we've been doing that already. Now, when it comes to the context of like applying it to EE and AI, I'm not sure, but I'm more than happy to get an answer for you. But I do know that there are committees, and we actually have Dr. Lindstedt, who works heavily in machine learning and AI as well, who's working on ways to find how to update curriculum and be more modernized for what's being offered in the industry. What I will say is, as someone coming from higher education, if somebody tells you, yes, we have courses here and programs that's going to prepare students for future of AI jobs, etc. I would be a little bit hesitant just because a lot of companies themselves are still figuring it out. And so, universities, institutions can do their best, but I would probably say right now, like based on the market and where technology is evolving into, we're still waiting to see a lot of things pan out first, right? Before we can confidently say this is what students should learn, right? Because the last thing we want is we jump in and force our students to learn something and then they graduate and it's irrelevant in like the next day, right? And that's how fast technology is moving nowadays. Ocean has asked, what is a day in life as an intern? How much responsibility are you given and how challenging is it? I'm sure the answer is different for everybody, but I'll let the students share their experiences on this.
I can kind of jump in here. It really depends on which company you're at. Like Sam was saying, I was at ECS, eClinical Solutions, and the team I was on was like 8 people, I think. It was really small, so I was effectively treated as like a full-time employee. And they gave me this 6-week project to work on because they needed this internal tool for something. And so I was kind of left to my own reins. I had check-ins with my manager every other day and that kind of stuff. But mostly it was just, hey, if you need help, reach out to us. But if not, work on this project. But I know a lot of bigger companies, it's a lot more hands-on where they're monitoring every single step you're taking, whatever you're doing. They're making sure you're pushing out good quality code and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can kind of go ahead and speak to my internship experience. Um, I think obviously like it depends on what company you're at. I know like when I'm recruiting, something that I definitely look for is how structured is their internship program. Because I definitely like having a mentor and knowing like what teams I might be on, what projects I might be working on. And then I think it also depends on like what you want to make of your internship. I wanted to go in and learn a lot of new technology. Like I didn't have experience with backend development. And even though I was doing full stack work, I was like, hey, can I have a little bit of a focus on backend just so I can get that experience? And I kind of took on a lot of work just because I wanted to learn a lot and contribute as much as possible. And so I was working on like 3 different projects at once, just because I had asked to do that. And then also, like you're gonna have like day-to-day intern stuff. Like a lot of times they'll have like networking events for interns and all that. So yeah, I definitely think it's very variable. And it depends on the company, what work you're doing, also what team you're on. I know I saw like a lot of the AI and machine learning interns, like they were definitely handed a lot more work just because that's very in demand right now, compared to some of the other roles. So I think that's also something to consider it, kind of looking into what roles you are exploring.
I can go next. For my internship, it was actually very structured on the not team side. So we had like a lot of um, social events, we had a lot of networking events and things like that. As for my team, it really depended on what we were doing at the time. While I was at the company, we had a ransomware attack, so we had to punt and see what kind of steps we would then take as a cyber team. So it was very interesting to see how that changed from my team and how our structure changed. And my team, at least, there is only 3 of us, 2 of us in our Irvine office and then 1 remote. So it was a very different structure. But as for day to day, I mean, I have my one-on-one with my boss, and then I have a variety of other meetings, either on Teams or in person, depending on if I'm in the office. And yeah, I think that's mostly what I wanted to say on that.
Great,
I
thank you.
can jump.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh no, I was
Melissa.
just gonna say I've had 2 internships, or yeah, 2 very different internships since I've been in college. My first one, I was working at a startup and I had no idea what to expect. Um, and everyone's talked about how it depends on the company. When I was at this startup, I was on a team of 3 people. And so I had so much work and I had so much freedom to complete it in whatever way I wanted. It was the type of freedom that I wasn't really used to, like in any job where they were just like, we need this done and that's all. Tell us how you're going to do it. and then do it. Whereas like my current internship at Panasonic, it's way more structured, and I have to it, I check in with my manager and my mentor every single day, and we discuss how we're going to go through things and specifically how we're going to do them. So it really, really depends what you want, because I think some people do prefer starting with a startup and being given all of that responsibility. I think it fast tracked my experience. It was stressful, I will say. It's way more stressful than say like a structured internship at like a big company. But it's really it's up to what you're looking for.
Great. I mean, that's really great too. Like, we're always telling students, internship, yes, you want to get experience and you want to get paid, but a lot of it is so you can learn about yourself too and figure out what you like and you don't like, right? And so I'm always glad to hear students have these different types of experience and realizations. A lot of my students will also come to me and say, I'm having a challenge trying to communicate this issue with my supervisor, and I don't want to say anything because I'm an intern. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to lose my full-time opportunity, right, et cetera. And the thing is, like, these are all really great ways to start learning about like how to communicate in a professional setting. And so definitely really great experiences here. Verenia is asking, what is the eligibility to join research as a student and how much time commitment does it have to be? I'll let students kind of share their different research experiences, but just as a broad answer, I know that it really just depends on what they communicate with the faculty and the principal or researcher. But eligibility is really just defined by your level of interest and I think the conversations you have. But for those who've done research, like maybe Josh, like you can kind of give your perspective on like how much time and what kind of work you're putting in.
Yeah, so like Sam said, it does depend on the professor, but right now, I do about 8 to 10 hours per week of research. It's all on your own time. So whenever you have time as a student, you can kind of squeeze in the research, which is a really nice bonus. And then we also have team meetings on Fridays. It won't always be on Fridays, but you'll normally have like a team meeting and you can discuss where you're at with your research. And you can always email your professor that you're doing research with. And it's very easy as a student to fit it into your schedule, which is a huge bonus. And most of the time it is paid as well. And if you do want to see the research opportunities we have, I believe there's like a Chapman website, and you can go ahead and scroll through and see all the different professors and what kind of research they're doing, and then reach out to them that way.
Great. We did have a question here as well from, let's see, Diana. In paid internships, what is the payment range for engineering and what engineering is the most paid? Okay, I get what you're asking here. So I can give a bit of a broad answer. Um, for our students, you could, if you want to share, you can discuss a range. My HR hat is on right now, and I'd be like, probably don't disclose in a public setting like the detail, right? Because sometimes companies feel fickle about that. But as far as like traditional like salary ranges, I see it being 22 to 26, right? 28-ish dollars an hour is probably like the range on the average that I see for internships. Now, depending on companies and like the competitiveness, there are some companies that pay upwards of like 40, right, an hour. I've even seen the highest I've seen a student get offered for an internship is like 55 an hour. But like these are like very, very like top companies and also like it just depends on like what kind of resources the organizations have, right? And so the range is around there. The most paid, I don't know. What do you guys have a sense of like what's the most paid? Typically in internships, it doesn't matter what major you're in. They usually pay their internships or interns the same rate because they're trying to make sure that everyone gets paid fairly and equally. Now, when it comes to full-time employment, that can change. Another thing that I do have common conversations with our students is how to negotiate, right? And so you can also negotiate pay for internships as well. And even with full-time jobs, right? Like if you can't negotiate the pay rate, maybe we can negotiate a signing bonus or something like that, right? So it all really depends. But does anyone have anything to share about this?
I've done some research into this for some projects I've worked on, and I think the like other than what company you're at, I think the biggest factor for your pay is probably the location where your internship is going to be. If you're located in like San Francisco or New York, they are going to pay you more just because your cost of living would be higher. But other than that, I would definitely say, like FANG companies or Microsoft zones would pay a lot. And also, if you're into financial tech, those companies pay a lot because those jobs are very in demand. I've seen internship applications and like job postings where they're offering 60, 70 an hour. Like I know Citadel has internships where they're offering like over $100, but those are like insanely competitive ones. So yeah, I think I agree with Sam where your average internship probably pays like 25, 30, but it really depends on your location, how much you're able to negotiate, and kind of the size of their intern team, I guess, depending on how unique you are as an intern, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Going off of this, oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Sam. Mine is currently 26, and then if you have engineering in your title, it's 28. So, if that puts anything into perspective, having the engineering part of your title is helpful.
Okay. So we got about 5 minutes left in this session, but so if you have any last minute questions, please drop them and we'll try to do our best to answer them. Verenia asked again here, if you have a paid internship, are international students eligible for research opportunities as well? So yes, international students are available or have the option to do research as well. Now, when it comes to getting paid, it really depends. Typically, we have our student employment office handle the details on all of that. I get why you're asking because there are restrictions sometimes around like international students' ability to get paid while doing work. We also have employers, and it really just depends on the employers, but who are more than willing to work with international students, right? And so that's a conversation that I typically have one-on-one with students and depending on their circumstance and their individual experiences. But we have different departments that make sure that no laws or issues are going to be had with our international students. All right. Any other questions? We got about 5 minutes left here. For the students, what's your favorite part about engineering at Chapman? Not all at once.
I'll go first. I think my favorite part about Chapman is something that we haven't talked about yet. We have a lot of labs and it goes along with research, but it's also our makerspace. And that is basically where I live on campus. We have a prototyping lab, a manufacturing lab, and a tech shop, which all is underneath that makerspace title. And so that gives you access to our 3D printers, our laser cutters, a variety of different machineries as well, machines as well. And I think that's truly my favorite place. I also work there on campus, so that's something that we also haven't touched on. There is an opportunity for on-campus jobs too. But yeah, I think that's mostly my favorite part, along with just the friends that I've made along the way.
I can go next. I think for me, it's definitely how involved you can get. Because Chapman is like a bit of a smaller school, you're definitely able to get your voice heard, and you don't feel like a statistic. So if you really care about student life and you want to help create like a supportive environment for certain groups on campus, you can get involved in leadership very easily. I became treasurer of Girls Who Code in my freshman year because I talked to Marissa and I told her like, hey, I want to be on board. So it's very supportive. It's very easy to get involved. And so I think that's definitely my favorite part.
Yeah, I would
100% what Hemi said.
agree. I would completely agree with what Hemi said. Yeah, student life and clubs in general are, I think, my favorite thing at Chapman. And I think the biggest thing is that we are a smaller school, so even like our biggest club is 60 people at like a weekly meeting. And the advantage of that is that you really get to know everyone, and there's like a lot of camaraderie between your upperclassmen and underclassmen. I was studying abroad at the University of Auckland, which is 40,000 students, and I joined, I think, 6 different clubs. And I didn't really feel like I really made friends in any of them. Other like the activities were fun, but it's really hard to talk to people because you're in this larger environment and you don't really get to know people as easily. So I would definitely say that's the best thing in Chapman.
I would say my favorite part about engineering at Chapman was students' relationships with teachers. I feel like we have such small class sizes, and the teachers here are all so dedicated to your success and hold so many like office hours for their students, and you're able to have like one-on-one experiences and just opportunities with teachers that you wouldn't really have at other larger universities. And that's something I've really cherished here. I wasn't sure if I was gonna actually like talk to my teachers. So coming in from high school, I was like really shy and I was like, oh, like I'm not gonna, but they're all so great, which I really appreciated here. And it made me want to be more involved in my education, and student life, like Hemi and everyone was talking about. So yeah.
All right. Well, that hits our time. We're at 4:59. I want to thank everyone who joined today, and for your questions and, just for your interest in Chapman University and our Fowler School of Engineering. Again, if you have any questions about anything, you can email us at engineering@chapman.edu. If you have anything specific for myself or, you forget who or you don't know who to reach out to, we'll help you navigate that process. But otherwise, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Have a great evening for wherever you're at, and hope to see you on campus.